popped up when talking throughout the years with Logan. We've realized that a lot of people 40 and under really don't know how to take care of their home. So today we're talking about how to take 40, or starting out with 10. This is a series with Logan. We're talking about 10 things that everyone 40 and under should know to do in their homes. But before we get started, I want you guys to know a little about this amazing business owner in Lubbock, Texas. His name is Logan Langford, and he owns Sometime Spouse along with his wife in Lubbock, Texas. I want you to tell our listeners and viewers one fun fact about you, Logan.
One fun fact, people get a kick out of. I'm a motorcycle rider. It's got a short riding season out here in Lubbock, but it's pretty good. It's a fun time getting out when it's time to do it.
Do you wear one of those do-rag thingies around your head so your hair doesn't blow in the wind, or do you like your hair blowing in the wind?
Well, I do wear one. I wear a half-shell helmet, a brain bucket they call it. So I have to wear that bandana just to take up a little more space inside that helmet, but it's just a necessity thing, not a style thing.
Oh, so you're not riding for style.
No, not usually. I like my motorcycle. It looks cool, but it's not about that. It's just about being on the road,
Yeah, and like the freedom you feel on a bike is not like anything I've ever felt before.
Yeah, it really is. The best thing I ever saw about riding a motorcycle is, if you're in a car, you live your life looking at a screen. Your windshield in the car is a screen. You're looking at a TV, but when you're on the motorcycle, you're in the picture. You're on the screen. You're in the show.
Oh, I love that. Logan, what did you do before owning a Sometime Spouse?
Well, something completely different. I was a nursing home administrator. I got into that after college, took a few more classes, worked my way up in the nursing home, started out as a receptionist and became the administrator. And I worked for a couple of different companies, went through some buyouts, that kind of thing. And anyway, it's a pretty tough job. You just got to care for a lot of people 24/7 and be there and available and ready to go all the time. And just kind of wore me down and got me looking for something else, and I don't think I could have found anything better than what I do now. But it was a good life experience, and really prepared me for everything I've come across as a Sometime Spouse.
That is awesome. And you actually do Sometime Spouse along with your wife, right?
Oh yeah, it's been good. It was good when I got in, and then as soon as we were able to bring Amy in, it's just been great.
Yeah, it's exploding, like in a good way.
Oh yeah, exploding, going big time, trying to anyway.
Awesome. So is that how you met Amy? Was at the nursing home?
Kind of. We got set up on a blind date. I worked with her cousin, and she set us up, and we met at a little restaurant in Anson, Texas called Peacocks, and there it was.
That's a great story, Logan. Love it. So you work with a lot of homeowners, helping them with their honeydews around the house, and you've noticed several things that kind of pop up. I remember when I was a kid in Walker, Missouri, that I stayed at my grandma's house on the farm a lot. And it always seemed like something would go out. I think it was like a sup pump or even something within the toilet that you couldn't flush the toilet. And there was 9 cousins always at Grand's house. And like you had to flush the toilet. Like you couldn't just let that stuff linger because there was 9 little kids. So what can a homeowner do if they can't flush their toilet because the sup pump goes out or something goes wrong with the city? What can you do?
Well, I've actually experienced this with the house, just where the water lines would freeze. And just because the water doesn't come in doesn't necessarily mean that it won't go out. So when you have that in the toilet, it's good practice to just have some emergency water jugs or something just around the house. So anyway, when you're in that situation and the water's not coming into the toilet to flush it, You can always get you a bucket, if you have water somewhere else, it's maybe just not going to the toilet, or if you have your emergency water and you're able to kind of tap into that, then yeah, you just fill that bowl up. You can use a 5-gallon bucket, or whatever you want to do. Just fill that bowl up, and then when it gets enough water in it, it'll just flush it all out. It's kind of doing it manually.
That is amazing to know, just in case you got a lot of little kids and you got to flush that toilet and there's no pump action going.
Oh yeah.
That's great. Now, another thing a lot of people don't know that are 40 and under is that you actually have to clean out your dryer vents. How do you clean out your dryer vents, and why is it important?
So it's really important on your dryer vents, just because it can actually start a fire. We should have looked up a statistic about how many home fires are caused by that, but I know the number is larger than you would think. You can get some tools and things like that that'll attach to a drill, and you can run it through that vent. If your dryer is centrally located in the house, you probably have a really long dryer vent, and that's when you need those tools. But a lot of the times, if it's near a wall and that's where the lint exits, then you just have to make sure all your flaps are working, and you can usually just stick your hand in there and pull out whatever you need to.
Another thing, growing up in Missouri, like we would have a bad winter, whereas in Waco, we don't necessarily have much of a winter. I know you guys have them in Lubbock, but I remember as a kid that my parents would put towels along the exterior doors because that wind was just so terrible in the winter months. How can you stop that kind of door leaks from the weather coming in? Do you guys have that problem in Lubbock too?
Oh yeah, Lubbock is a very, very windy place, irregardless of the season. It's not nice to have cold air blowing in or hot wind. And it's all a work in a pinch, but that's not something that's really lasting. Every time you open the door, it moves, gets bunched up and that kind of stuff. But the best thing to do would be to get you some weather stripping. That comes in several different varieties. You can get the peel and stick kind. You can get the kind that fits in the door frame. There's also some screw-on types that go on the bottom of the door. And then the door sweep, they make one now where you can just add a door sweep to an older door. And all you need to do, they're made out of plastic. They're easy to saw. You just fit it to the door, and you just kind of clip it on the bottom. Some of them screw in, and some of them just hold themselves.
Wow. I remember the peel and stick kind when my parents both got their RN degrees, because we were poor before they got their college degrees because they were paying for college. But I remember that peel and stick kind, and I always liked at the end of the season to go and pull it off.
Well, could have just left it on there for next year, I guess, but to each their own.
Yeah. Now, one thing that we've been talking about at Sometimes Spouse Headquarters, and Amy and I actually talked about earlier this week, I don't know if she told you, but one thing we've been talking about with that coronavirus is to stop licking doorknobs, because that's definitely how you could get the coronavirus, is going around licking doorknobs.
Oh yeah, I mean, for sure, any sanitary thing you do. I'm not well equipped for the coronavirus with my beard, because I know that's the big concern, is to be having that mask put down you, but I guess I'm on Team Surgeon General that says not to freak out and stop buying up all that stuff.
Yeah. So what if you have a doorknob that's loose? I mean, totally different subject, but don't lick the doorknobs. That's not going to help. But how can you fix a loose doorknob?
I guess you could find out if it was loose by licking it, but that wouldn't be the best thing to do. Really, doorknobs are pretty simple. There's usually just a couple of screws. Some of them, especially interior doorknobs, will have a cover that's over those screws, and usually don't need more than just like a flathead screwdriver. You can pop that off, and it'll expose the screws. Just get you a Phillips or whatever kind of screwdriver you need, and tighten those up, and put your cover back on if you want to.
That is awesome. Now, one thing, it's getting summertime. We've actually been mowing our lawn since January, I believe. I think it might have been the end of December that we had our lawn getting mowed. But we don't mow our own lawns anymore. And I'll tell you exactly why, Logan. I came home one day from work, and my husband, Max, he's bald. He's about 6'4" and bald. And he had this big, long cut on his head. And I said, "What happened?" And he goes, nothing. And I'm like, no, you got to tell me what happened. I won't say anything to anybody. And he goes, no, I don't want to really discuss it. And so in asking the children what happened, he'd been sharpening some lawnmower blades on the back of his truck. Somehow he was sharpening it. It came loose and it cut his head. Like, it wasn't a bad cut, but it was a cut big enough. There's still probably a scar there if I started looking. But he was sharpening the lawnmower blades in the wrong way.
Almost sling bladed himself, huh? Getting that killed him with the lawnmower blade.
Yep. So you have to ask him about it next time you see him, Logan.
I will. But yeah, no, that's good to sharpen them. They're kind of expensive to replace, so if you want to save some money, you can do it in a safe way, but you want to get those off and you want to use a vise and really tighten that vise up where they don't move around, and hopefully you don't wind up chopping your head. But yeah, you can use the file and just shine them up. But yeah, that's the way to go about trying to save a buck. But if you can do like y'all now and just get your yard mowed, you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, and like I think that was the important thing. There was no vise involved. Like, he had the thing to sharpen it, but he was just doing it on the bed of his truck and it came loose.
Yeah, that old hand vise doesn't work that great all the time.
I wonder how many people die of lawnmower blade sharpening in the United States every year.
Mercy, I don't even know. That'd be an interesting stat.
Yeah, I definitely need to look that up and share it with Max.
I bet it's a couple. I mean, vending machines kill so many people every year, so I'm sure lawnmower blades are more dangerous than that.
Now, I know that you do a lot of paint touch-ups in the Lubbock area. I know we do a lot of them in the Waco area. How can you do paint touch-ups without having to really get everything out and making a huge mess and having to clean it up?
Sure. Well, preferably you just call sometime spouse and we'll take care of that for you. But if you want to DIY it, a good thing to do is just get you your paint. Usually homeowners, especially new houses, have just all this paint just laying around. So just go ahead and get that out. Get you an old wash rag. Just dab it in there, kind of dab it on the wall. It'll match the texture a little bit, and it'll look okay. It may not make it go away. We'll never see it again, but it'll be better than, just nothing or using too fine of a brush and then it's real flat, but if you use that rag, it'll have a little texture to it. And then you just throw your rag away.
That is awesome. That is super simple paint touch-up there. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
And you're right about that texture, because so many of them, you miss the texture when you use the brush. This way you cut out the retexturing.
Yeah, that, you definitely notice that spot when somebody's just done it flat with just a flat brush or, just not a very good sheetrock patch. It's something pretty common if you look around, especially around those doorknobs.
Yeah. Don't lick them. Now, I've got 2 daughters and then me, and we all have longer hair. My girls have hair all the way down their back, and it seems like our drains get clogged all the time. So what's a good tip to unclog a drain in your house so you don't have to call a plumber who can be over $100 an hour?
Oh, sure. I mean, best thing to do, and a tool some people have around, and they're not real expensive at Home Depot. You can go get you a simple one, be a drain snake that hooks on a drill. You can run that down, but if you don't have that, if you have a shop vac, you can put that over the drain, get you rags or tape it down around that drain so that the suction is better. And then you just put it on it. And if you're lucky, it'll just suck all that hair up in your shop vac. You don't want to do this with your just home vacuum. Obviously, you need a shop vac for that. But yeah, I mean, that's something to work in a pinch.
Another thing that I don't do anymore is I do not park in the garage, because I have a Toyota Sequoia, and every time I park in the garage, I've found that I hit the wall, or I don't park in far enough, and then the garage door comes down, and that's not good either on it. So I just don't park in there anymore, even though I'd really like to. Do you have any tips for that?
Oh yeah, there's a real simple thing for that. You want to know the length of the car, if it's even going to fit in the space. Like you do now, just don't even park in there. But if you want to get in there, if you have a car that'll fit, just get a tennis ball and hang that from the ceiling, where when your car is in the right spot, your windshield just kind of bumps that tennis ball for you hit anything else and damage something. You know where your car's at. You know the door's going to shut. You just got to measure everything first and get it in the right place.
That is super easy. I'm going to have to definitely tell Max Ogle about that one. He probably already knows, but just didn't want to do it. Maybe I can
Yep.
rent a house from sometime spouse.
Always available.
What about gaps around outlets? I've been told that some of the elements from outside can come into the house through those gaps and outlets. How can you fix that simple thing around your house?
It's really something that'll help you with your electricity bill. I mean, think about all the outlets and switches and things that are around your house. Those are all potential sources where you're losing your air conditioning or heating. So what you do there, just take the outlet cover plate off, and then you'll see that gap that's around the gang box that's inside the wall. And then you just use some expanding foam. Just be careful, and you just fill up that gap that's around the sheetrock and then the gang box. Fill that up. You put your cover back on. You don't even see the foam after that. Looks good, and it's just an easy way to save you on your electric bill.
Wow, I never even thought about the electric bill. That probably would make quite a difference, especially where you guys are, where the weather and temperature swings back and forth. But even in Waco, because we get that extreme kind of heat.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're getting, we call this full spring is going on right now, and then we're getting ready for third winter. So yeah, we need to get that house even more weatherproofed.
I just learned so much about the Hub City when I talked to you.
I saw something the other day that says, well, Lubbock in Texas actually has 12 seasons. I'm not going to go through them all, but you have about spring is really just alternating between winter and summer. Like today is supposed to be 70 and sunny, but 2 days ago it was like 50 and cloudy. So yeah, it's just wild swings all the time here.
It is. Now, we get called a lot for leaky faucets. What are a couple of just quick tips if you have a leaky faucet?
So a leaky faucet, or even a faucet that is not, the water doesn't come out of it like it's supposed to be, what you want to start with is take off the basket that's at the end of the faucet. Make sure you use a rag and then a pair of pliers to twist that off. And then you'll see that little basket. You can soak it in vinegar. I think a lot of people have seen the tip about cleaning your shower head. It can work the same on the faucet. Soak that little basket in some vinegar, get you a little toothbrush or something, brush it out good, put it back on, and water should be flowing good again. But leaky faucets can be several things. You got to check the cartridges and all that kind of stuff, but that basket on the end there can be a lot of problems, and that's just a pretty easy, quick fix on that one.
Wow, you have given us 10 amazing tips today on the podcast. But at the end of every podcast, I like to ask a fun question. So this is kind of an oddball one, but I've asked Amy it before, so you should have heard it before. Logan, you're stranded on a desert island, but all of your human needs are met. You've got all the food, all the water that you need. What are 2 things that you would take with you that would make the time on the desert island a little bit more fun?
Am I by myself? Or can one of the things I bring be Amy, I guess? How about that? How about Amy and
right? That's
Amy and a ping pong table? We'll be okay.
And a ping pong table.
Yeah. Something to do. You got to have something to do, right? You got food and water, but you got to have activities or you're just bored,
That is awesome. Well, thank you for being a part of the Ask an Expert and giving us 10 home tips to do on your home and know about before you're 40. Thank you for joining us, Logan. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I mean, this stuff is important. I'm 32, so I guess that makes me an older millennial. But I've found that people that are around my age or younger, doesn't seem like they've ever come across these things. It's just something we need to try to get the word out about, and that's what I want to help you do with these podcasts.
That is awesome. Thank you very much. How do they get a hold of you, Logan, if they're in the Lubbock area or West Texas area?
Yes, man. West Texas. Just give us a call, 806-476-0731. We do free estimates. So we'll be out and check out what you need, and we can get you taken care of.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And we will be talking to you again soon.
Cool. Sounds great.